Hello there everyone, this is the Animewolfgamer here, and I'm finally going to review a game. Now, you may be asking this before, but you're wondering this. Well... Hello! Where the hell is the gamer in the Animewolfgamer, alright? Okay, so I haven't been reviewing much in games, but now I finally decided to review a game, and that is a movie-based game! Well, let's get started, shall we? Now, movie-based games has always been known with bad reception, and I can see why. Almost every one of these games are quick cash grabs, plain and simple, and when based on a movie for kids, you know it's not going to be good, and I used to be one of those kids. Now, with Over the Hedge, I actually got this when I was a kid and kept playing it so much back then. It's been a few years, so how do I feel about this game? Well, I'm happy to say that it's a very good movie game. Why is that? Well, let's find out, shall we?
Maybe going inside a human's house?
Now, our story begins where the movie ends. Okay, that is odd, but does that mean this game is going to be really short? I'll rage once I recap the story. So anyway, it follows a little different as there are some changes here as well as the dialogue. But it still goes through the same movie lines. And it ends. Oh boy, here comes the rage. Wait, what is this? 1 year later? Wait, this game takes place after the movie? This is where I got my hopes up when playing this game, as usually they tend to follow the same storyline of the movie, but this has the balls to take it to the sequel form, and it's nice because I never thought that the Exterminator would be smart enough to make mind control caps. Anyway, the story isn't anything compelling, but doesn't need to be. I like how it expands the area that the characters live in, like the shooting gallery, many different parts of the suburbs, and a carnival. Now, the dialogue is what really sold me in this game. Now, the movie, in my opinion, kind of lacked the humor, just a bit at least. But here, the humor is really fucking funny, and that is something I never see in a kids game much nowadays.
Alright, brothers and sisters, I'm sure you're all familiar with the phrase, simple as taking a satellite dish from a bear's cave?
No.
Well, the time has come. Only instead of simple, it'll probably be extremely complicated and cost many lives. So, let's get started.
When you start out in a level, you get a lot of interactions between the characters, and it changes depending on the character duo that you select on, which makes good replay value because you want to see on what you missed out.
Hey, easy on that. I'm all for advertising our presence to Vincent, but not till I have a pie in my hand.
Relax. Life's too short to worry about bears every time you go into a dark bear cave.
Reptile! Amphibian!
Hey, easy on that. I'm all for advertising our presence to Vincent, but not till I have a pie in my hand.
Well, as long as Vincent isn't eating us just this second, we should be fine, right?
Overall, the story, while generic, does a good job on moving the plot of the film, and it's really funny and interesting to see what is going on.
This is us here, this here is me, and this line here represents the stick I'm...
The graphics are really poor in this one. Now, they don't look so bad as it looks decent. The areas are nice to look at and it's open enough, which makes you feel that you're a small animal that these characters are facing. And the animations to them are really nice and not jarring, and it shows in the gameplay and cutscenes. But however, they don't really look good as they look so grainy and weird. Plus their eyes! Really, why are their eyes so sticking out like that? They look so creepy. God damn, I can't get that without getting nightmares.
Vincent, wait till you hear.
The sound is really good. The soundtrack has got to be the best I've heard for a movie game standards. They are so catchy and smoothie just at the right moment. Plus, the voice acting is really good. Sure, it's not the same voice actors, but they did well and they matched the voice actors that they're trying to impersonate. It's very clear and not terrible. So overall, the graphics are lacking, but not terrible, and the sound is very good. Now, the controls work really well for the most part. To attack, you press the B button, jump with A, shoot projectiles with X, Hold the L button to move slowly to avoid traps, the basic stuff, and it works. But for tight controls, this is where the game sorta has a bit of a nosedive here. Now, this is a platformer, and when you jump, you feel a little floaty and heavy at times. When you play 2-player, it shows that when you have levels that involves with jumping and stuff, sometimes you can fall when you bump into each other. It kinda gets annoying. But however, it's not a big issue. Everything works well with that minor gripe of the platforming. It's all good here. Now the gameplay is where the game is able to hold up compared to other kids games based on movies. Now it takes a beat 'em up style gameplay which most movie kids games are doing nowadays, but here it's a little in depth here. Okay, you have your standard attacks that you could use, but you could also make some combos. There are some good amount of combos that you could use. There isn't a lot to use here, and this is where it gets repetitive. I really feel like that there could have been more to the combat system as they got something here. But then this is a movies game, so they didn't have time, of course. There is also a range attack that you can use. When you press the X button, you can launch a projectile to enemies and hold in the charge to get a powerful attack. You can also do strong moves with the Y button, and when you're together, you can do the spin move of death. Seriously, this thing kills enemies in an instant. Now, being a 3D platformer, there is times where you must jump into other platformers in order to move ahead. Now, they aren't the most creative in platforming, but however, it's very fun, and looking at it from the viewpoint of the small animals, it's very challenging, but really easy. But however, there is a problem. The camera will always lock in for the most part, and it does work, but however, there are times where you can not be able to judge. Now, this is not a huge issue, I think, but it does get annoying, especially when you play with another player. Now, in the levels, you have a set of objectives that you have to do. The main objective is what you do to complete the level. But however, that isn't the only thing to strive for, as you also have a bunch of secondary objectives. These ranges from not getting hit by lasers or destroy every object that is in your path. These add a lot of replay value, and it's worth doing this so you can unlock minigames! Yay! There are 3 minigames to get, and that is bumper carts, RC kart racing, and target practice. I'm gonna set which one I like from the least favorite to most favorite. Targets is pretty much a game that I barely play. It's so boring to play, even with a second player. There are some good changing up to it, but it isn't enough to keep me invested. RC Cars is a really fun game. It's fun to race against your friends in the computer, but it has one issue, and that is the controls. They are way too loose at times, and sometimes you'll spawn out of control. The bumper carts game has to be the best I have played. Time controls is just overall fun with a friend or family member, and it can get loads of enjoyment. Now, the levels has a lot of objects for you to destroy. You pretty much vandalize private property, but since you're an animal, you say fuck all and fuck shit up. Now, since this is a beat 'em up game, you might be afraid that the enemies to fight might be lacking, but I'm happy to say that you have a lot of variety here. Trust me, not a single level became boring due to the enemies that you fight. Along with different level designs and traps, it makes things really intense. You'll fight rats, beavers, bears, and so many more, and each has different attacks to avoid. But however, some can be a pain to fight at times. Badgers attack you constantly whenever it has a chance, and they are immune to stun when it roars, so be careful because he takes huge chunks of your health. Armadillos are really a pain to kill because after when you do a combo on them, they go defensive and stay that way if you don't hit them for a little while. Best way to defeat these fools is to not complete the combo and pause before you complete them and repeat. But the one that annoys me the most is the weasels because of their stun guns. Wow, the exterminator really wants these animals dead. In fact, he amped up the danger with these animals, and it must have a fortune, as every house must have high-tech animal catching devices. But did they forget about the children here? What if little Timmy ends up alerting these traps? Wouldn't he be in the hospital by now? It just boggles my mind when you set up these traps. Granted, they might have said that when they left, but what about at night?
Hey, Daddy, can I go play outside?
Sure, son.
Yay!
Just be careful with the security system. Those fucking animals keep coming back in to steal my food. Also, how is that nobody see a slow-paced wagon in the middle of the street? Yeah, I once saw it, but it should be lively than this. I don't get it. Now this game can be a lot of fun in multiplayer where you and a friend can take out enemies together. But however, due to the camera being locked in, expect times where your friends will tell you something is there and they head back for it. Plus, expect jumps to be ruined when you bump into each other. Now, throughout the levels, there are a lot of things to collect. You can get chip cans to increase health, cookie boxes to increase your energy meter, discs, and others. There are a lot of things to collect, and it makes you replay some levels as there might be some places you haven't thought of looking at. Now, if I have a big issue over anything, it would be the boss fights. Boy, are they easy as fuck! They take no strategy, and the final boss is a joke. Some technician you turn out to be. Another complaint I have is that I wish the minigames have 4-player support. I mean, tell me, do these minigames look better for 2 players? No! It should have 4-player support because they need it. It would have been a blast to play if it has that support, but at last it doesn't. Now the game is short, clocking in around 5 hours if you skip all the stuff to collect, but then it adds an extra 1 or 2 hours. Also, there's one thing that caught my interest, and that is when I look up a certain page of this game's info, I saw that Ozzy is a playable character. But now I doubt it as it was mentioned on Wikipedia but then it's removed. But then I found it on an obscure gaming site but I don't remember the name. I did try by putting on the controller on the 3rd port to see and I got nothing. Oh well. So overall, the gameplay is pretty good for a movie game with some issues. Overall, this is a great movie game. Now, it's not an outstanding game, but however, the people who made this did their best. Luckily, it didn't turn out terrible. It's fun and it's worth the price it's set. Back then, I got this for $30, and it's sort of reasonable since it didn't price at $50 like most movie game ripoffs. But I feel like they should have been set to $25. Now, you can find this at about $4 to $10, and I say it's worth the price. I wish movie games followed this, so it would have been made most movie games could have been a little bit more better. But no, they still hit the shit like this. Which is why I give this game a D+, a fairly entertaining game. Well, this is the Animewolfgamer here, and I hope the next day will be even better. And the next will be the Season 4 opener review, so expect that soon.